Hello, everybody. It's your boy VG Time. And not that long ago on the community tab, I said, hey, I want to do a little sneak peek behind the curtain. Let you guys know that a lot of times our deck profiles, not just mine, but others in the YouTube space, are more so theory crafted, more so based upon only a few games. And that I wanted to show you guys lists after 10 rounds of tournament gameplay. Pressure tested against people outside of like your kitchen table friend group. So I got overwhelming response to yes, and that's where today's video comes from. Here we are. We are back with Vegeta Fighting Instincts. This leader right here has impressed me quite a bit, and the deck has performed really well in the 10 tournament matches that I played in. The overall record was 6-4, but the 4 losses all came the same way, and it is mainly my own fault, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Of course, the link is down below to this deck list, but if you want to have a little bit more insight onto why I made the changes I made and ways to play around the mistakes I made, you will continue on with this video. I promise I won't take too much of your time. So one of the changes I made was dropping the trunks down to 2 copies. Honestly, the card is kind of mid. If it wasn't for the fact that the backside of the leader requires you to rest this specific card other than the Goku, I would literally just take it out the deck and play something else. And in fact, when I go to the side, it's one of the first cards that come out the deck. I placed the Vegeta down to 3, not because it's not good, but because I wanted to make room for a third copy of another card. It might go back up to 4 later on, depending on more games, but 3 seems to be fine. So Vegeta, it took the place of Borgos and 1 copy of the Vegeta. It basically does everything I kind of wanted for the deck. It gave me a Floodgate similar to a Riposte. It also gave me a counterplay similar to a Borgos. And then it also has the ability to block. And even if I don't get to use it, I get to draw a card after sending it to the Warp. So it actually replaces itself as well. Basil, I did not have a turn 1 play. Basil gives me a turn 1 play. And then, of course, I'm leaning closer to the aggressive nature of the deck. And so him being a 1-cost 19k dual attacker is also very solid. Next change I made was replacing Android 18 with Super Android 13 cores of the trio. You can also replace it with Android 14 and 15 that does the same thing. But the main thing was that the deck gets a lot larger hand size than I was actually expecting. So as such, it was hard to use Android 18 reliably, while this guy right here is always a free combo similar to the Android 13 we already play. Speaking of which, Turles performed masterfully in every single game I played, especially in the Vegeta mirrors. The mirror match is basically all comes down to who could control the other person's Gokus the most and who could get rid of the most Gokus. And when you have the ability on your opponent's turn to just combo and get rid of their Goku, draw a card, and have a blocker to stop one of their other big attacks from coming in, doing great. I added 2-star ball Parasitic Darkness to give the Cell 8 drop that we play in a deck value. When you play the Cell, one of the abilities is you add the 2-star ball to your hand. The 2-star ball is nothing but it's just combo power. Also, you have the ability to charge it if you have nothing better to charge and you don't feel too bad about it. Took out Cooler for Tyrannical Blow. This might seem crazy, but most of the time what you cared about was the Floodgate effect versus the negate itself from happening. And then everything else kind of basically stayed the same. Now the Z deck changed quite a bit, which was that we have reduced the amount of the starter deck cards to being 2 copies of this Goku, of course the Z leader, and 1 copy of Majin Buu. Now this card also kind of replaced Cooler counter in the main. Main reason is that you wanted to be able to punish your opponent for activating the counters, not necessarily stop them, and that's what he does. You get to bottom deck a card in your hand, remove it from game in order to make it so every time they activate a counter, you draw. That right there is super powerful. I was, had people kind of being hesitant on what they actually negated, while before they would have just been winging negates left and right. And when I did go in with my all-in play and they do try to stop me, I at least get a card or 2 out of it. So let's go back up to the main deck and let's talk about the matchups. So the wins came against a hodgepodge of decks, SS4, Red Sin. It also came up against the mirror match. It came up against Supreme Kai Time, and it came up against Trunks Vegeta and Cumber. It came up against Cumber. A good spread of decks I was able to beat using this deck. The 4 losses, 3 of them came from the same color deck. One was the most freakish scenario ever, and I figured out ways to deal with all those situations. So I lost 3 times to 3 different blue decks, whether it was Gamma, Android 21, or Dende Ramp. Those 3 decks have Dirty Burst, and it's very hard to create a scenario where you get to be open for playing this guy and they don't have the Dirty Burst. It's like the Dirty Burst is magnetized from the deck to their hand. And even if you go, I seen them burn a copy on like this guy earlier, or I seen them, use one to negate. As soon as you play this guy, they always have it. Always have it. It's crazy. So once they do that, you lost your hand and you lose the game. And in fact, all my games I lost was because I went for this play and something like horrible happened. So that makes me almost want to change the SCR if it wasn't for the fact that I also won 4 out of my 6 games off of this guy just being busted. So it's feast or famine on it. The other deck I lost to, which is Agents, was not because of anything Agents was doing. It was because, you're not going to believe me, I went for this play, I swung on him, he had no answer in his hand, he lost his hand, I hit him, he took 2 life, I restood, swung again to kill him, and off the life, he got his last token to negate and give himself the ability to have a token up. So, token negates in general. Very bad against this, very bad to run into when you're going for this play. But we have a workaround. So, we of course have our Z leader, and what we have to do is go into Majin Buu. So we go Z leader, Z stack, Majin Buu. You make this play, you swing, your opponent will most likely token negate if they have it in their hand, and then they'll lose their hand, right? And they'll have the token out there and they'll feel safe. You pay 1, you make the Majin Buu, you swing with the Buu against their 3 life, more than likely, and then they're forced to not block it. If they don't block it, cool, you use the activate battle to rest the token. They take the 1 hit. What you're hoping is that they don't have another one come off their life. Because I tell you right now, my heart can't take more. Again, you want to make that play while under Gamma 2 executing justice so that you could get an extra card off of them from activating the token negate. And then that'll give you a little bit of a buffer. Because unlike before, where this plus our leader skill will literally be game over, the Z deck exists. So as such, clapbacks are really, really always present. Because at first I was like, oh, they're not going to have any hand, they're not going to have a board, shouldn't be too bad. Then you see the Vegetas and the Beerus's and everything else coming out the clear blue sky to kill you. So just keep that in mind. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you next time. It's VG Time signing out.